Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be talking about something that probably is quite hard and difficult for people to speak about, and I myself haven't really spoken much about it since it really happened, but can't actually believe I'm like making this video at the moment because it's taken a while to kind of get to this point, I suppose. And my aim of my sort of channel was to kind of keep up positive because I am quite a positive person, but I want to make this video because I know that there is probably going to be somebody out there that watches my channel that has either experienced this or may do in the future, and if I can just help them kind of get through it, then that's kind of all I want to achieve. So basically it is Baby Loss Awareness Week this week, and I suffered a miscarriage myself last year in January. So that is probably hands down the most difficult thing that I've ever been through, and I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, to be quite honest. But I feel like I've kind of got through the other end now, and you know, my life has never been better to be quite honest at the moment. So I'm not really going to go into too much detail about what happened because it was a really personal thing for me and my family and things. So I'll kind of give you a brief overview of what happened and kind of how I dealt with it, and I'll hopefully give you some tips, and you know, if you know anyone that is going through this, I'll share kind of what I've done to kind of like get myself out the other end, pretty much. So basically we got married in July, and in about, must have been August, September time, it was July 2015, and about August, September time I came off the pill and we started trying for a baby, and I got pregnant really quickly. I had basically one cycle and I got pregnant. So yeah, it was really quick. For being on birth control for years, you know, it was really quick for happening. So yeah, we found out before Christmas that we were expecting, and we were so excited. And then anyone that knows me knows I love a Prosecco, so if I was to turn down a Prosecco, especially on Christmas Day, then it's going to be obvious, you know, that I was pregnant. So I did tell my family, although we wanted to kind of wait to the 12-week scan, I did tell, like, it was like my auntie's cousins, my granny, granda, and, you know, obviously close friends and family. So yeah, so it was probably one of my favourite Christmases actually. It was such a good laugh, and obviously I was so excited because I was pregnant and for the first time, so everything was new as well, and I was feeling great. And then we booked the 12-week scan. We went along to that, and there was no heartbeat and the baby was very small. Now at this point, this was probably the worst weeks of my life. It was the worst week of my life. I had to wait a week because basically we weren't completely sure of my dates, because I typically had a longer cycle before I kind of went on birth control, and I'd only had one cycle since coming off. I wasn't actually sure what date I would have conceived at all, really. So, you know, the lady that scanned me, she said, well, it's either two things, like it is a miscarriage, or you might have fell pregnant like later than you might not be as far on as 12 weeks basically. And I kind of thought that might have been possible because, you know, if the fetus isn't big enough, you're not going to see a heartbeat yet, it's not going to be visible. So I thought, well, that could be positive, but basically what we had to do is wait a whole week, and if go back for a scan, and if the baby hadn't grown, then we knew it was a miscarriage. So Greg had to go offshore that week, which was horrible. And my dad came in with me to the hospital, but I don't know, I was kind of in two minds. Like one day I would be like thinking everything was fine, and the next day I would be thinking that it probably was a miscarriage, but I hadn't experienced any bleeding. The only thing that kind of got me was that I hadn't experienced morning sickness, and I know that is a sign of pregnancy because the hormones, it's the hormones that are making you sick, and I didn't experience that, which kind of had alarm bells ringing. But because I thought my dates were wrong, like I didn't think I would have been 12 weeks at that point. I thought, well, maybe, you know, it is just small. So, but anyway, I think that's what you do, you just kind of like beat yourself up, and that was the longest week ever, just waiting. So cut a long story short, we found out we had miscarried, and it was just, I don't know, like I just think you never really expect anything like that to, well, I didn't expect anything like that to happen. When I found out I was pregnant, I was excited. It never once came into my head that I could miscarry. But it is really common. 1 in 6 pregnancies do end up in miscarriage, and I didn't know that. So basically we had to go through the whole, you know, I had to stay in hospital overnight and things like that. And yeah, Greg managed to get home, obviously. He came home just when we found out. So yeah, so I was a blubbering mess probably the week that we had to wait, because I was so, you know, obviously it's really upsetting, you don't know if your baby's here or not. So that was really a tough week for me, actually, the wait. And because obviously it was early on, not a lot of people knew I was even pregnant. None of my, you know, at work, no one knew I was pregnant, so I was still having to kind of carry on as normal, which was really tough when you're feeling like crap pretty much. So yeah, that was really tough. But obviously, like, my family and things are really supportive, and Greg, you know, we're all going through it pretty much. So yeah, when we were at the hospital that night, I obviously had the baby as such, had the miscarriage, and was seeing like the sac and things like that. And sorry if that's too much information, but you know, I don't think people really I didn't realise that this would happen. I didn't, you know, I just think you bleed. I thought you bled and that was it, but obviously things have to come out, and I wasn't really prepared for that, to be quite honest. So I think it's probably quite good to speak about, just so you are aware that you're going to see something, regardless of how far along you are, really. Because I would have only been about 6-7 weeks, I think, between 6 and 8 weeks, I think, when I miscarried. So, you know, I wasn't that far gone at all. So basically at the hospital, yeah, that happened, and I held it together, and I didn't cry once in hospital. What happened with me, and I suppose everyone's different, is it hit me later on. I was speaking about like maybe a couple of months down the road. It's horrible when you've been through something like that and you're so desperate, like then you really understand how much you want something, when it's kind of taken away from you. And I think that goes for everything, really. So yeah, it was afterwards when I seen that other people were pregnant, it was really hard for me to be happy for them, I'm going to be honest. And probably a lot of people feel that way. You know, you've just been through this, and I think it's just a jealousy thing. You want to be in their shoes, and I didn't like seeing people complain about certain things about pregnancy, because you would kind of think, well, at least you're pregnant, sort of thing. And I know it's not their fault. Now I understand, you know, I understand why I thought that, but you know, you have to be happy. Like I was when I was pregnant with Mila, I was so positive about it, and I know it was quite scary, actually. Sorry, I'm like skipping a couple of chapters, I think. But when I first found out I was pregnant with Mila, it was obviously scary until you get your 12-week scan. But I wanted to, you know, I was just wanting to think positively, and I wasn't feeling horrendous, but I was feeling sick, so I knew that was a good sign. And yeah, I really wanted to enjoy it. You know, it's part of my life, so I knew, you know, regardless of if I was scared about it and didn't really want to make myself enjoy it, or if I did enjoy it, it would still hurt just as much. if it ended up in miscarriage again, which luckily it didn't, and I've got a really healthy, beautiful baby girl now. So basically, yeah, well, a couple of months after, because I just wanted to start trying again, straight away, they kind of tell you to kind of wait a cycle or something, but I was like, no, I'm not doing that, I'm just wanting to get pregnant. I think it's basically so you can track how far along you are. And then I thought, oh well, I was pregnant within a cycle the last time, it'll happen like that again, and it didn't. Greg works offshore and I ended up ovulating when he was away, and big long story like that. So yeah, that was not as easy as I thought it would be. I thought it would just happen first time again, but obviously if he's not here when I'm ovulating, I can't get pregnant. So yeah, it did take a lot longer that time. So I miscarried in the January, and I got pregnant again in August. And I know there's people like that it takes years or are really struggling to get pregnant, so I'm so lucky, and I know that. But at the time when I'd been through the miscarriage and I was seeing everyone else that were having babies, like people around me, it was really quite tough. And I just thought, you know, if I would be pregnant myself, then it could kind of take that away, and then I can focus on you know, I really was desperate to be a mum, to be quite honest. It was desperation. So yeah, basically I would say if anyone's kind of going through that, I know it's quite easy to say, you know, everything happens for a reason, and I do think that way now, because I wouldn't obviously have Mila, but when you're going through it, you know, you don't think that, and you're thinking about this baby that you never had, like wondering what it would have been like if it was a boy or a girl and all these things. And you basically just have to be there for them. And if you are going through this yourself, I think it's really important to speak to people and don't push them away. Even if they're saying things that you know, if like everything happens for a reason, and you're thinking, well, you know, why, what reason could that be, like for me to lose a baby? Just maybe just tell them, you know, if you're being sensitive, feeling sensitive, and you don't want to hear things like that, just be honest, and then they know, you know, kind of what to filter out. Because if it's something that's going to be really tough for you to go through yourself, but luckily we're like nowadays there's so much help out there. You know, if you really feel like you're struggling, you have to ask for help. I was lucky that I managed to kind of get through it with the help of like Greg and things, and yeah, I'm feeling a lot better obviously than I did. And when I fell pregnant with Mila, all the feelings vanished, but you know, I still feel it now and know exactly how it felt then. But you know, things will get better, and you just have to, you know, it's time with any grief, it's going to take time, and you just have to allow yourself that. And if you need time off work, then don't feel guilty about it, because it's a horrible thing. And I think miscarriage, I think people just kind of like, don't think people throw around the word, because I do think because it's such a difficult thing to speak about, people don't tend to speak about it. But I don't think people understand how horrible it is. You know, you think, you know, it wasn't even a baby sort of thing, you know, if it was before 12 weeks when it really was somebody's baby. So yeah, I think, I don't know, I think I'm kind of babbling now. I didn't really know what I was going to end up saying here, because with things like this you just kind of have to let it roll off the tongue, I suppose. But yeah, I think you'll probably, if you speak about it, more people come out that you didn't know has been through the same thing, you know, because it's so difficult for people to speak about it. People don't speak about it, and as soon as people heard what happened to me, I had all these people coming to me saying, oh my god, it happened to me, and I had no idea. So if you speak about it and people are aware, if you feel like you can, because I know it's tough, but even just with close friends and family, you'll see how common it is, and you really aren't alone in this. And there's people that are probably living the same town that are going through the exact same thing at the same time as you. So yeah, just kind of lean on each other, and hopefully you have a supportive partner, because I know people grieve differently and at different times. And with me and Greg, we definitely grieved at different points. Like, he was more in the beginning, I was later on, but yeah, like, you know, we supported each other. You know, we didn't kind of, you know, when I was sad, he was there for me, and same vice versa. So hopefully you have got a supportive partner, or even family and friends. And yeah, just know that it will get better. And I know, you know, if you were in the same situation as me and it's taken a lot longer to get pregnant than it did before, then it's so frustrating, and you can't feel like you can be happy for other people because you want it so desperately. But hopefully that time will come for you, and it will be a success in the end, and you will have that beautiful baby in your arms. Because it kind of feels to me like it all happened like yesterday, but I know that at the time, sorry, my camera just cut out. Yeah, I know when every month when you were waiting to see if your period would come, and you would try test and it would be negative, then you're so like disheartened, and then you know you've got to wait another month, so the months just drag. But when I had the miscarriage, it seems like yesterday, and now I have Mila, so you know, it was only last year I suppose, but I don't know. I just think hopefully you will have a happy ending in the end, and most of the time people do. I'd just like to add, please don't forget about the dads in this too, because you know, they've lost a baby at the end of the day as well, and you know, they're going through the same sort of emotions. So just because they didn't have the miscarriage physically, you know, emotionally, they're dealing with the same pain at the end of the day. Please also don't blame yourself. This wasn't your fault at the end of the day. It's just one of these things in life that happens that's just horrible, and sometimes there is nothing that is out of your control pretty much. So never ever blame yourself in this, because it wasn't your fault. So yeah, if you're going through this and you want to send me a little message or have any questions, if you want to do it privately, that's fine. Like, all of my contact details are below. You can just send me a DM or whatever, and I'm happy to speak to you about it, because I know it's a quite scary thing to talk about, and I'm just kind of feeling like I can speak about it now. This is the first time I've probably publicly, I have kind of mentioned it here and there, but I haven't publicly kind of spoken and told people my story like this. So, but I do think it's important, because at the time I didn't know how to deal with it. I think it's really difficult. It's brand new feelings, especially if it's the first time you've ever been through it. You like, I didn't, it just came out of the blue pretty much. Like, I never in a million years expected it to happen. But I think the nice thing about me is my baby would have been due in August, and I fell pregnant with Mila in August. So yeah, it's quite nice how that happened. But you know, it's life. There's going to be crap times and there's going to be good times, but hopefully the good outweigh the bad. And yeah, I think we're all kind of here for each other. You know, if you're going through this, please, you can't speak to me, because you know, I know how it feels. And I do think some people underestimate how tough a miscarriage is, because in your heart, if you're carrying a baby, that's your baby, no matter how big or small it is. You know, it doesn't make it any less significant, you know, the pain that it causes when you lose your baby. So yes, it's not really a happy video, but I do hope I've helped someone out there that's watching this. And yes, if you do have any questions or anything, like I said, just pop it down below or give me a private message, and I'll answer anything pretty much. So thank you for watching this video. Please give me a subscribe if you want notifications. So you click on the bell and you'll get a notification when I post a new video, and I will speak to you next time.